Okay, so I'm here to talk to you to get you ready for Q4 because, as we know, in July as e-commerce PPC professionals, we need to be getting ready now. A little bit about me, I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but I actually used to work here at Tug, and I've worked with some really big brands like Selfridges, Reebok, Sky, and some nice things about myself, hopefully. So if you ever want to come and play paddle, I'm always trying to get better. Come and play a paddle match with me, and I'm not going to spend any more on here, but yes, this is us all saying Merry Christmas. Because this is a Christmas. It's not! We're talking about Christmas now, Anu. So let's get into it. So, a few stats to get us started and get us into the mood for it. So, queries for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, deals, discounts, these start as early as October. So therefore, it's really important for us to be getting ourselves ready ahead of this and to be there and visible when people are starting those queries. To add to that, a really nice study done by IMRG. They did a big, massive questionnaire across lots and lots of different retailers in the UK, and what they actually found is that those retailers that have a longer campaign, so this is a very comprehensive study, they are actually making more money. So there's a reason why retailers are going early with their campaigns. It's because they make more money. And of course, they've taken into consideration the cost of running their promotions for longer, etc. So this is incrementally more money, 81%. Oh, what I didn't mention is we're going to have a little Kahoot at the end, just to make sure that you're all listening. So maybe that's one on there. And there's a prize with it. So yes, make sure that you are listening and taking note of some of these different stats that we've got. So let's think a little bit more about our timeline, because this is super important for us. When we go live, we're going to talk about budgets, because obviously we all are interested in that in the PPC world. So really, one of the first events that we have is right at the start of October. You know, Amazon are smart. They know themselves that people are searching at the start of October. So they've put an Amazon Big Deals event. And that can often have a ripple effect across the e-commerce world, where we see CVRs, even if you're not promoting on Amazon, actually increase via Google and on your own websites. I've got to say, I do usually expect a lull and experience a lull within my campaigns. So I do tend to pull back during that period between October and then sort of like the start and mid of November. And then here are just some really key dates that I just wanted to talk through, especially the first ones. And of course, there are some more that are going into December, but I've only got so much time with you today. So first up, Fake Friday. No one outside of e-commerce or retail actually knows when Black Friday is. Of course, we all know it's the last Friday in November. No one else knows that. My mum doesn't know that. I don't think my plumber knows that. So we actually see a big surge in traffic on the second to last Friday. So this is called Fake Friday. And then of course we have the Sunday after Fake Friday, which also sees a surge. And then we've got our headline acts of Black Friday, this year falling on the 28th, which is after payday. And if anyone remembers 2023, Black Friday came after, before payday, so it pushed a lot of people to actually search and buy on the Cyber Monday. This year, we've got our Black Friday after everyone's been paid, so that really tells us that we're in for a bumper year. The same as what we saw last year. So we've got a very similar trend as last year, so that's really great for us. That means that we can use our data from last year to really help and guide us. And then we have got Cyber Monday being pushed into December. So we just really need to think about that when we're budgeting our spends. Now, we've got a big star over the Sunday after Black Friday, and that is because Google themselves are estimating that this is going to be the day with the most amount of search volume out of the whole of the period. Not Black Friday, not Cyber Monday, the Sunday after. Now, of course, they're thinking about search volume. They're not thinking about revenue. So we still need to think about different CVRs during this time. But that is the day that they are pinpointing to have the most amount of volume. So it could be the case that we need to protect ourselves on that. Perhaps people are actually just going to be searching after the event, checking that they've actually got the best deal, but maybe they've already converted. But yeah, that's what they're saying. So let's get planning. As I said, I wish I could talk about PPC, and I'm sure some of my ex-colleagues here remember me talking about PPC for hours on end. But I've just picked a few things out, and afterwards we've got a QR code. You sign up to the newsletter, and we're going to provide you with the resource, which is basically everything that I check through, and then a hourly budget tracker as well. So these are the ones that I'm going to go through. So get ready. We've got a few more, predominantly because that's where we are now. We are in just July still. We're nearly in August. And arguably, this is the most important, the preparation that we do, get ourselves ready, because really, once we get into the take action and evaluation stages, sometimes the stage has already been set, and we're really just dealing with what comes up on the days throughout that. So my general rule of thumb as well, and I'm thinking about that timing, so even though we have take action across October as well, I really have quite a strict rule with the teams that I run, and even my clients. My gosh, aren't I terrible? But no major changes to campaign structure or conversions past Halloween, and that's why we've got the scary ghost. So if you're changing your campaign structure vastly moving into November, or you're changing what you're tracking, you're really setting yourselves up for a fail. So think about everything that the boys have talked about before me, feeding on machine learning. If you're only giving it that information very late on, it's not going to have time to come to fruition. So really no big structural changes before October. Scary ghost. Okay, I feel like I'm whizzing through it. Get ready. So again, this is where we're going to talk first of all about conversions. So it's really important. We've all talked about it. We're all in agreement. We have to give the robot, the machine learning, the best data that we can in terms of conversions. We've all spoke about PMax doesn't have all of the data that we have. It only has the CPA goal, the ROS goal. So make sure, there's been quite a few occasions that I've audited accounts literally in the last 12 months. And even though they're only using them to optimize towards, the separate reports, so many accounts have add to basket as a conversion action that's set to primary, which unless you're a very high value retailer with just a few conversions coming through, which most of us won't be working with them, like jewelers, diamonds, things like that, then we shouldn't be doing that. But rather than talk about this type of conversions too much, what I really wanted to bring up, and I'm kind of regretting it now, if I'm honest with you, is this. So the differences and the different metrics in terms of CPA, ROAS, and POAS. So we've spoke about it a little bit already, and there's some really big opinions and slightly contentious, but they're all good metrics, okay? And I like to look at them as good, better, best. Now you use what is available to you. Of course, we can see that the different metrics have different things included in them. However, this is just an evolution of your client and an evolution of what you've got available to you. So if you are still using ROAS, this is good. We are still taking into consideration the value of the sales. However, we aren't, taking into consideration the actual profit of that sale. So as we've spoken about, and everyone's spoken about it here today, of course that means that we can trip ourselves up here, because in the end we could end up selling products that actually have a very high value, so perhaps we might not be able to get so many other sales, but actually those high value products don't have a very good margin on them. But POAS is not that hard to calculate. So in order to get POAS, all we need to do is calculate the gross profit. And And we can do that by taking revenue, which most of us already have available to us, and remove cost of goods sold. And the cost of goods sold is basically as many costs that you can think about and as many costs that you can calculate, both direct and indirect, literally everything. So whether it's the cost of the promotions, the materials, the labor, the shipping cost, payments, get as many things in there as possible. And then we can just apply it to the feed with the attribute cost of goods sold. And then we can do this three recommended ways: supplemental feed, via feed manager, which I would choose. Hopefully a lot of us have feed management providers. This is the easiest way to do it, or feed rules, which I think was probably the worst way to do it. So yeah, speak to your clients, get as much in there as possible. And because this is a secondary attribute, Google won't actually penalize you if this is wrong. You know, like some of our attributes, if you get it wrong, you'll be banned for life from Google Shopping. But they don't really look at this. This is purely for us. So once you've got that in place, in Google Ads, you can now add this column. And then, of course, you can then start to use it. So I just wanted to show you that it's something that's attainable to all of us. And you don't have to be that much of a whiz to do it. Okay, we're getting into the gritty part of it. So budget planning, I just think this is so important. So spending, you know, the days throughout Q4 can be very up and down. And if you overinvest in a day with a low conversion rate or something, that can really mess up your overall outcome. So I really recommend that if you have an account that's spending, say, more than about £10,000 per week on Google Ads, to do a daily budget laid down. And this is going to be in the takeaway sheet that you're going to get via the newsletter as well. So always plan everything out, have an idea of what spends that you need to get to. Of course, we're going to see organic growth in terms of like our volumes will naturally increase and we will naturally spend more, but we can't rely on that at all alone. We have to think about changing our ROAS targets, relaxing those, increasing budgets. And what I like to do as well, especially if you're working with a team, and sometimes with team members that have got varying levels, maybe they've just been brought on in the last 2 or 3 months, or maybe it's just 1 year, actually having this in there as a visual for them as well can really help them know when to push and know when to pull as well. So yeah, at the same time as well, this is a nice reminder of me, during this period, offer changes is like conducting a symphony. If you've worked on big accounts, I think probably the worst for me was Selfridges, if you can imagine, with all their different categories, all their different brands and all their different offers. It's honestly just a job in itself. So I'd really love that everyone in the room does not just rely on extensions for your promotions and discounts. Don't do that. Take the time to get your offers in your actual headlines, in your descriptions, play around, use countdown where possible, obviously in our search campaigns, create that urgency, and also plan this in, because this is the part that takes a lot of time and it can make you stand out from the competition in that SERP, which is a very competitive space. So plan your creative changes, plan out your sheets ahead of time and QC them, because I see a lot of mistakes as well. And when I'm shopping during Q4 period, I see mistakes all the time as well. And whereas they are quite funny, it can be really detrimental, and we don't want to piss our clients off. Just checking if there's anything else I want to say on this slide as well. But yeah, we're going to talk a little bit at the end about seasonal adjustments and seasonal data exclusions as well, but I tend to plan these in as well, just to have one place where everyone can see what's happening. Cool. Oh yes, and this was also in this IMRG study as well. So if your client is coming to you and they're asking you, what should we use? Should I do, I don't know, like from a percentage off, or maybe it's a set like £20 off or something like that. Well, they've done the research. The vast majority of retailers are going to stick with it up to percentage discount off. So that research has been done for us. If everyone's using it, there must be a reason. It works well. So 43%, and that was the by far the biggest margin. We can also use our ad library tool as well, and you can change the dates and look back if you're really interested to see what they were running. Okay, on to audiences. This is the last part of Take Action. So I actually created this hierarchy of audiences, and it was on a blog I know on PPC Live. No one's come at me and challenged this. Like, I just put this together. Like, if you want to discuss this afterwards, I'd love to, because I actually feel like I could switch these two around in the middle. But anyway, hopefully we can all agree that the top of our hierarchy of audiences is any sort of first-party data. But let me know, because I was expecting someone to tell me, no, that's not right. Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I've got a video here. Cool. So audiences, first-party data. Sometimes this can be really hard for us to get from our clients. So firstly, on customer match audiences, there was a big change earlier this year from Google. I can see some nodding heads. Hopefully you heard about it, where the minimum requirement for customer match audiences dropped from 1,000 to 100. I can see you nodding. Yeah, this is massive. This means that it's now available to pretty much every retailer, every client out there. So do book them for their email lists. If you can't do that, I just wanted to give you the insight on actually how to set up these lists in GA, because it's really easy. You have to be an admin. You go to the admin section, audiences, and then this is how to set up a past purchases one. But you can flex this to be whatever you want. You can change the date range, the event count, what the actual events are, and then again, it's all going to be on the handout. Just make sure that you link the accounts. This is in GA again. Link your Google Ads. You have to be admin in both, and then they're going to be present for you to use. You can overlay them. You can just put them as observation. To be honest with you, machine learning is so good now. That's what I tend to do more than anything, and that can just really help our bid strategies. Couple of bits, and actually I was thinking about saving this one for if ever I do a podcast, because this was a major fuck up in my team when I worked on Reebok. So during Black Friday, people just search at random times. I'm sure a lot of us have got ad schedules in place. So I told someone in my team, or I told the manager, then the manager told the exec, and they told them to remove the ad schedule. So what they actually did is just, our ads weren't live at all. And what we need to do is, obviously, you just add like 0% throughout all of the day and all of the time, but they just removed it, and that was a really big issue that I had to explain to like the head of Reebok and Mia. But yes, that's the point I'm trying to make. People search at random times, so remove any of your down weightings or your turn-ins off of your ads during Black Friday, because people will search at like 2 a.m. or something weird. And again, use automation on our seasonal bid adjustments where possible. I'm sure a lot of us in the room are using PMATS campaigns. Unfortunately, the bid seasonal budget seasonality doesn't work, but we can use conversion rate on it. All right, we're getting there. So slightly coming to the end now. So, we're in Q4. It's happening. So what should we be doing during this time? Number one, checking the GMC. So check your Google Merchant Center, check your issues, see what's going on in there. And I would really recommend this should be at least a daily check, including the weekends. Sorry, guys. And as well, we can create alerts. Like, of course, it's kind of impossible to create alert from the GMC, but we can do it Google Ads side. And what I just tend to set up is, well, lots of different alerts. But every day in the morning, choose the campaigns, any shopping campaigns, and any campaigns that have received less than 0 impressions, and then get a little email. And this is a trick which I've obviously shamelessly stole from my mate Matt. I did ask him beforehand, but I just thought it was a really great idea. So if you guys aren't already avidly using LinkedIn like me, it's such a good resource and we can really learn from each other. So this is a great thing that I've not done yet, but I'm totally going to do that this year. So this post is just saying about how he's using ChatGPT, which I don't actually really use that much, but he's just given it a really simple prompt. It says, please create a table with the prices for each of these SKUs, and he's just checking his products on competitor websites. So link the products from website 1, website 2, website 3. Such an easy way, and it gives you a table. Now, I'm thinking about doing this, but I've actually got some clients that they only sell on their own website. So what I'm thinking, I'm not going to do 50, that's for sure, but maybe I'll do 5 or 10 of comparable sort of competitor products from my competitors and do this and send them to my client, because I think that's a really important part, and I think sometimes we can just almost slightly forget about that, just like actually we're doing it from them. They won't have asked me for that information, but that's something extra that I can give to them during that period. So on Black Friday, I'm going to be doing this. Oh. Yes. So it's like a picture within a picture within a picture, isn't it? My gosh. And this thing, this is a hourly spend tracker. Gosh, I feel like I'm talking so much. Does anyone use like hourly trackers, hourly spend trackers? Oh, hand. Okay. Okay then, so then you know how good they are and how insightful they are. So I use this actually every day, but during Q4, during those periods where, you know, you can get really big spikes, and you can see what you're spending comparing to the last day. This is actually the one that I'm using with Iceland, and it's in our handout. I have changed their data, so don't worry, you're not stealing Iceland's data. But yeah, it's a really good way to understand whether you need to push, pull, and you'll know where you're at. Okay, last section. So there's obviously so many different things that you can do to evaluate your performance. And when I say evaluate, this is like evaluate and continue, evaluate and make changes. So one of the biggest things that we can do here is monitor our stock, especially the monitoring of the stock of the best sellers, because as Jeremy nicely pointed out, we put a lot of money behind our best sellers. So when these run out of stock, that can be a really big issue for us. And an additional thing to look out for is not just the bestseller SKU itself. If it comes in multiple different colors, sizes, is it that the popular sizes have already sold out? So that product might still be getting served, spending money, and then we'll start to see a ROAS drop in it, a conversion rate drop on it. So consider alternative substitute products. Speak to clients beforehand as well. You know, you've probably only got like, what, 10, 20, 50 or something. Really important SKUs, check they've got the stock, and then if they haven't got the stock, adjust the spending, otherwise you're going to end up losing efficiency, and it might even be better just not to spend that money. Just bringing it all together, so things that we're doing, we're obviously adjusting our bids and budgets, we're continuing to add promos and sales, not just on extensions. So we're swapping out the creatives. So after the Black Friday time, you know, we can consider the countdowns, delivery times, last chance to create that urgency. And we're in a really great position that this year is going to be hopefully similar to last year in terms of trends. So look at your previous years and see if you can identify anything this year. We can look back now at last year, so that's great. So a couple of things to close with. 30p of every pound spent online in the UK goes to Amazon. It's a lot, right? That's even before we start. So let's not make it easy for them. Let's give them a fight. And they're not even so much on Google anymore, so let's do it. But yeah, that's what we're up against. We're not even up against each other, we're up against Amazon. But hopefully something a little bit more positive. 70% of shoppers are open to purchasing brands that they've not heard of before. So we've talked a lot about like branded search, branded PMAX. Most people are not searching for a particular brand, they're searching for a thing. So it's really all to play for.